Can you imagine a year so terrible, so fraught with disaster that it stands out in the annals of time? Welcome to the year 563. As we pull back the veil of time, we find ourselves in the middle of the 6th century. An era cloaked in the shroud of the Dark Ages, a time of transition and turmoil, when the world was caught in the grip of profound change. The Roman Empire, once the beacon of civilization, lay in ruins, its glory fading into the echoes of history. Europe, once united under the Roman banner, was now a fragmented mosaic of Germanic tribes, each vying for dominance in the power vacuum left behind. Across the vast expanse of Asia, the Gupta Empire in India was on the brink of collapse, its golden age dimmed by invasion and internal strife. In China, the northern and southern dynasties waged war in a bitter struggle for supremacy, their conflict leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Meanwhile, the Middle East was a cauldron of religious and political upheaval. The Byzantine Empire, the eastern remnant of Rome, grappled with the Persians to the east and the Germanic tribes to the west, its survival hanging by a thread. The Arabian Peninsula was on the cusp of a religious revolution that would change the course of history forever. In this tumultuous world, the year 563 stands out as a year of unparalleled hardship, a year marked by natural disasters, disease, warfare, and societal collapse. A year that, for many, seemed like the end of days. But what made this year so horrific? What calamities befell the people of this time, turning their world into a living nightmare? To understand this, we must delve deep into the annals of history, peeling back the layers of time to reveal the harrowing realities of life in 563. So, hold on to your seats as we dive into the terrifying realities of life in 563. The Earth itself seemed to turn against humanity in 563, unleashing a series of natural disasters that brought widespread destruction. The ground beneath our ancestors' feet was anything but steady. Powerful earthquakes shook the world, reducing cities to rubble and turning landscapes into graveyards. In this chaotic year, the Earth's crust was not content with merely trembling. Volcanoes, the fiery giants of nature, awoke from their slumber. They spewed out molten rock and ash, blotting out the sun and turning day into night. The skies rained down fire and brimstone, and rivers of lava flowed across the land, consuming everything in their path. And let's not forget the wrath of the weather. Extreme events whipped up by the world's climate system battered societies already reeling from seismic and volcanic devastation. Torrential rains led to catastrophic floods, washing away entire communities. On the other end of the spectrum, severe droughts parched the land, causing crops to wither and die, leading to widespread famine. These disasters were not isolated incidents but rather a chain of catastrophic events, each magnifying the impact of the others. The earthquakes damaged infrastructure, making societies more vulnerable to floods and volcanic eruptions. The eruptions altered the climate, leading to extreme weather events and so on in a vicious cycle of destruction. The societies of the time, lacking our modern understanding of natural phenomena and devoid of our technological capabilities, were left at the mercy of these relentless forces of nature. The people lived in constant fear, never knowing when the next disaster would strike, or how they would survive it. The scale of these disasters was such that they left indelible marks on the historical record, a testament to their devastating power. They resulted in the loss of countless lives and the collapse of many civilizations, reshaping the world in ways that are still felt today. But these natural calamities were only the beginning of the horrors that 563 had in store. As if the wrath of the earth wasn't enough, 563 also saw mankind besieged by unseen enemies, diseases. This year was a relentless onslaught, with no quarter given by the merciless foes that lurked not only in the landscape, but within the very bodies of the people. The most infamous assailant of the year was none other than the plague of Justinian. Silent, invisible, yet deadly, this plague swept across the land, leaving devastation in its wake. Named after the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I, who himself fell victim to this disease, the plague was a catastrophic pandemic that decimated populations across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Imagine the horror of the people, still reeling from the natural disasters, only to be struck down by an enemy they could neither see nor understand. The plague of Justinian was not a respecter of persons. It struck down the rich and the poor, the young and the old, the healthy and the weak with equal ferocity. This disease, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, was characterized by sudden onset of fever and weakness, followed by the appearance of painful swollen lymph nodes or buboes. The afflicted were often dead within days of the first symptoms appearing. The plague of Justinian was not a solitary event, but rather a series of outbreaks that spanned several years, with 563 being one of the worst. Historians estimate that at its peak, the plague may have killed as many as 5,000 people per day in Constantinople alone. The overall death toll is believed to be in the tens of millions, making it one of the deadliest plagues in human history. Imagine the terror and despair that must have gripped the people. Families torn apart, communities devastated, societies crippled. The world of 563 was a world under siege, not just from the forces of nature but from the very essence of life itself, twisted into something monstrous and deadly. And yet, even as disease ravaged the land, human conflict added to the year's grim toll. 563 was a year of conflict, where the sword claimed as many lives as disease and disaster. The echoes of clashing steel, the cries of warriors, and the lamentations of the bereaved were a constant background score to this tumultuous period in history. This year was marked by numerous wars and conflicts, each with its own unique set of causes, key events and outcomes. Let's delve into the major ones that shaped this dark year. In the east, the Göktürk Khaganate was embroiled in a power struggle. The empire was vast, spanning from the Korean peninsula to the Caspian Sea. The thirst for power led to internal strife, weakening the empire from within. Meanwhile, in the British Isles, the kingdom of Bernicia was expanding its territories. Æthelfrith, a man known for his ruthless and strategic warfare, led the charge. His conquests were brutal, leaving a trail of bloodshed and destruction. Across the globe in the Maya civilization, the city-states were locked in constant conflict. Known as the classic Maya collapse, it was a period of intense warfare, political instability, and societal chaos. These city-states vied for power and resources, often at the expense of their people. Each of these conflicts had a profound human cost. Lives were lost, homes were destroyed, and societies were torn asunder. The impact was not just immediate, it resonated for generations. Yet, amidst the chaos, there were moments of resilience. People fought for their survival, for their homes, and for their loved ones. They clung onto hope, even when it seemed like there was none left. Stories of bravery and sacrifice emerged from the battlefields, reminding us of the indomitable human spirit. But the cost was high. The scars of these conflicts ran deep, not just on the land, but on the hearts and minds of those who lived through them. With the world in turmoil, one might wonder if there was any hope left in 563. But as we'll see in the next scene, even in the darkest times, the human spirit finds a way to endure and rise again. In the face of such adversity, societies crumbled and life as people knew it changed forever. The year 563 was a turning point, an era of societal upheaval and transformation. The relentless onslaught of natural disasters, plagues, and wars left civilizations on the brink of collapse. Imagine, if you will, a world where established norms are shattered, where the basic necessities of life become luxuries, where hope seems elusive. The societal fabric was torn apart, and the structures that once provided stability were no longer there. In regions where once grand civilizations flourished, now only remnants remained. The effects of these cataclysms were not confined to that fateful year. They echoed down the corridors of time, shaping the course of history in profound ways. The collapse of societies led to shifts in power dynamics, the rise of new civilizations, and a reshaping of cultural and societal norms. This turbulent period set the stage for a new world order, influencing generations to come.